Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Kayfabe Central podcast. We are back with the headlines in pro wrestling this week. I always forget what exactly the series name is. Like it'll be like headlines of the week in pro wrestling, headlines in pro wrestling this week. Um, but yeah, now I completely forgot what the series name is called. But welcome back to the headlines of the week in pro wrestling, where we go over all the hottest topics, a little bit of TV stuff, review, and all that good stuff. Whatever's hot in the world of professional wrestling, we go over on this show on the headlines of the week. I haven't done this in a couple of weeks, and I've been really kicking myself for it, and it's currently 10 past 7, so I don't have a lot of time before SmackDown to do this, so it shouldn't take me that long, and I am also hungry, and I have food downstairs that is waiting on me, so we're not going to rush through it because I don't rush through anything, but we're going to get through some of these. There's not a lot I can just talk about by myself. Uh, Speaking of which, I will have somebody joining me on the Money in the Bank predictions when I do them. I met him over TikTok. I saw his videos, and he's a really cool guy. So he's going to be on here on the Money in the Bank predictions side of things on that podcast. So, yeah, stay tuned for that. We're finally going to have another voice, and I'm going to look to have him on more podcasts, maybe even get him on some of the headlines of the week stuff. So yeah, but let's get straight into it. Actually, before we do that, a little bit of self promo. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Hit the notification bell so you're up to date with all the videos, podcasts, interviews that come to the channel, all that good stuff. If you're buying anything from WWE Shop, make sure you use my WWE Shop link. It helps me out a lot. It unfortunately doesn't give you a discount, but it will just help me out a lot if you buy something on WWE Shop using that link. So if you plan on buying anything from WWE Shop, it would be greatly appreciated for you to use my link. Go subscribe to the Ko-Fi page. I uploaded a Money in the Bank 2015 audio watch along on the Ko-Fi page this week. So if you're interested, go ahead and check that out. It's $5 minimum to go ahead and be part of that tier on the Ko-Fi page. So go ahead and check that out. I'm going to have a lot more content coming to the Ko-Fi page. So yeah, it was gonna be like a video review, but the video was extremely laggy. So thankfully, I had the audio version of it, and I uploaded the audio version. But you can watch it along with it. It's on Netflix. You can find it anywhere. So yeah, we went over the Money in the Bank ladder match from 2015. But in 2025, we are starting off with Vince McMahon's new 14th and I company, or 14th and I company. I think that's what it is. Um, so from what I've heard from this is that this is some sort of investment company. I don't know a whole lot about this to really give my analysis point of view on it, but yeah, apparently this is some investment sports related company. And yeah, somebody else, and I'm forgetting the name of it. This is why I need to have everything written down. Um, but somebody who also used to work for WWE is um, helping Vince McMahon plan things for this company as well. So yeah, this is gonna be very interesting. There was a lot of talks about Vince McMahon potentially wanting to buy WWE, but the way I see it, there's no amount of money that Vince McMahon can offer TKO for them to want to sell it. I honestly don't see that happening. And so I don't think that's happening, and I don't see the reasoning and why Vince McMahon would start a whole another wrestling company. Um, yeah, I don't see him doing that. There's enough wrestling as is, and he's a businessman. And I think he knows that making creating another wrestling company just wouldn't do any good, honestly, at this point in time. Um, but on the topic of Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis is, um, I guess, switching sides, flipping sides a little bit because in terms of the Vince McMahon lawsuit, I'm assuming that they went to him and said he'll get a reduced sentence, or something along those lines if he cooperates and tells them everything. So he has flip sides. So look, honestly, when it comes to this case, I haven't been following it a lot, and I've tried to stay out of the political realm of things a whole lot. Um, but if it means that um, bad people get punished and good people get their redemption, then I am all for it. And that's all I have to say about this, and I hope that's what happens in this lawsuit. Um, Moving on from the whole like political stuff, uh, WWE is doing this really annoying thing where they are going head to head with AEW consistently, and they have Saturday night's main event going head to head with All In, Evolution the day after, um, and they also have Great American Bash going head to head with it. Why? And what makes matters worse, and like WWE has gone out of their way to say AEW is not a threat. And I honestly think that's bullshit because if they weren't a threat, why do this? And so it's one of two things. They are a threat and they're lying, and they just want to come off as like, because like look, I don't know how much shit I'm going to get in for this, but there's a lot of people that work within that company that are just very childish. And it's a really shitty thing to say, but it is to a degree true. And this just proves that example, because why do this if they're not a threat? So it's one of two things: that they are a threat and they're lying about it, or two, that they really don't see them as a threat and just doing this anyway just because, which doesn't make any sense. And it's so bad so that WWE has named their pre-sale code for tickets ALLWWE. Are you out of your mind? ALLWWE. I mean, if that's not a shot, if that's not seeing AEW as a threat, I don't know what is. And I really don't think I'm reaching with this. I really don't. I really don't think that this is a reach. Um, because WWE 100% knows what they're doing here. 100% they know. I have the sniffles. I'm sorry, but yeah. So there's that, and along the same lines of WWE doing something annoying, SmackDown on USA is staying 3 hours. Um, this is ridiculous. I mean, it's not an entertaining 3 hours. It's really not. Um, and I know I sound like I'm just going on a complaint rant, but a lot of this stuff is just not good, and not good, including SmackDown. And it's always that third hour that I apologize if you heard that like dirt bike in the background. People love doing that up and down this street apparently. So um yeah, but it's especially that third hour that does not have me entertained. And I'm honestly going to like tone down on doing coverage of that third hour, like live coverage, and I'm just going to catch up afterwards. Because there is so much wrestling and I am exhausted with everything that's going on. By time we get to Evolution, I'm not going to want to watch a single match. And for the people that do this as a job, they cover this for a job, this is exhausting with AEW and WWE going head to head consistently. And I put all of that on WWE, by the way, because they knew exactly what they were doing with that. But for the people who have to do this for a job, you know exactly where I'm coming from. This is insanity. And I really think that SmackDown should just go back to 2 hours, because it's that third hour that is just dull and nothing is happening. So yeah, that is I'm not a fan of that. Um Triple H is also not a fan of the Money in the Bank concept, apparently. We heard this week that Triple H is not a fan of that. We don't know exactly what he's not a fan of. Personally, I like the Money in the Bank concept. Yeah, there's a few things wrong with it that could be fixed. Like if don't have somebody win the Money in the Bank that you don't plan on pushing, and like don't have them win it and like lose every single match after that and be like, okay, we just got to get rid of the briefcase now, like how they did with Otis. There's that I don't like. So like if you're gonna have someone win the Money in the Bank, make sure it's someone that you're actually going to push. And yeah, so maybe he just doesn't like the concept of someone carrying around a briefcase. Who knows? But yeah, I like the Money in the Bank concept. I also like the Royal Rumble concept. I like that. Like if you were to ask me if I could only watch like one pay-per-view throughout the entire year, it'd probably be Royal Rumble. And even that, there's like some things you could fix with that as well. But it would probably be Royal Rumble in the end of it. But I do like the Money in the Bank concept. And like, so let's say Seth Rollins wins it this year. WWE has this thing of doing, they have this thing of lazy booking, and they do this consistently. And it's where they have someone win the Money in the Bank briefcase, but for some reason they don't creatively explain why this person is not cashing in. If Seth Rollins were to win it, for example, you could have something as simple as Seth coming out and saying, I can cash this in whenever I want, but I'm going to cash it in when I feel I can do the most damage. That promo is all we need. That is literally all we need from that. And anything after that, like if he goes to cash in but then doesn't, changes his mind, he's like, no, I could have done more damage. Or even like if another heel were to win the Money in the Bank ladder match, right? It could be like, no, not the right time. Have them explain why they're not cashing in yet. Don't just have it like how they had Austin Theory just come out randomly and be like, oh no, I'm not gonna cash it in, right? Because like realistically, you win a contract for a WWE title, you want that championship immediately. But you can write it creatively why this person isn't cashing in yet, right? Because realistically, you win that match, and you know if the champion is wrestling after you, then you want to cash it in on them then, or you want to cash it in on the Raw after. Realistically and logically, that would be the option. But again, you could have them explain. So that was like a little bit of a rant about Money in the Bank there. I don't have a transition for this, but this is something a little bit funny. WWE spoiled the AAA Mega Championship title change ahead of Worlds Collide. So they announced El Hijo del Vikingo versus Chad Gable, which I don't understand why it's not El Grande Americano versus Vikingo, but you know that conversation for another time. But they announced it for the AAA Mega Championship. Now, tomorrow on the 31st, Vikingo is set to face Alberto Del Rio or Alberto El Patron. I mean, he's a guy I really don't care if I mispronounce his name. For the Mega Championship, and as of right now, as of May 30th, Alberto Del Rio is still the AAA Mega Champion. But honestly, I'm fine with this. I just found it funny because screw Alberto Del Rio, right? That's all I have to say about it, honestly. I don't like the guy at all, and you know what? If it doesn't work out in his favor, that's fine by me. But I am fully expecting Vikingo to win that title. Um, I don't have a transition for this either, but we're talking about like rosters or whatever. Mariah May is no longer with AEW. She has been taken off the All Elite Wrestling roster. According to some people, she is still under contract, but she has been removed from the roster page, um, which we expected, and we haven't seen her in a while. After we heard rumblings that she wanted to go to WWE and that she wants to leave the company. Abadon also left AEW. We haven't seen her in a while either, so we kind of expected that. But yeah, that's I have nothing else to say about that really. I've talked about Mariah May and WWE before, so you can go ahead and check those podcasts out. But yeah, nothing else really to say about that. Just a topic of this week. Some TV stuff. Callie Armstrong has won the inaugural Evolve Women's Championship. I haven't really been paying attention to Evolve, and when I watch it, I'm not really invested in it. Um, it is what it is. Callie Armstrong seems good, and putting the title on her makes sense. That's all I can say about that. Um, Laurel from LFG. I think I had this on the headlines of the week a few weeks ago. That WWE trademarked Jin Tala, and we now know who that is for. It is for Laurel from LFG, who is now joining the Evolve roster. Good for her. They're never gonna refer to her as Laurel ever again. But yeah, she's going as Jin Tala now. And yeah, she has a good look, and she seems like she has a lot of potential. So, yeah, good for her. Um, some other TV stuff that happened. Penta he beat Chad Gable. I'm pretty sure it was. Um, to go on to the Money in the Bank ladder match. Ray Phoenix is not in the Money in the Bank ladder match. He's instead on Worlds Collide, and I feel like Ray Phoenix would have been perfect for that Money in the Bank ladder match, but it is what it is. NXT though, so I was going into this expecting just a chill episode. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna have to do anything too crazy because I'm not expecting any titles to change. I was wrong. We started off the show with Ethan Page defeating Ricky Saints for the NXT Championship. For the North American Championship, sorry. Didn't expect that at all, and we're now hearing rumblings that Ricky Saints may go to the main roster. Even though he just recently got to NXT, there's rumblings about that. But we're gonna get into that in just a little bit. And then we had Jayne beat Stephanie Vaquer for the NXT Women's Championship. There's part of me that is still shocked about this because same thing with Ricky Saints. We're hearing rumblings that Stephanie Vaquer is going to be moved up to the main roster along with potentially Jordynne Grace as well. This was the most shocking thing of the week, and I really don't know how to feel about it. I don't know where they're going to take this title reign with Jayne. Yeah, I don't know where this is going, but congrats to Jayne. I think Jacy is underrated, and I have been someone, I don't think I've said this on the podcast, but I've said Jacy at least deserves the women's North American Championship at some point in her career, or some sort of mid-card women's title. She went ahead and won the NXT Women's Championship. So congrats to her. Good for her. It's good to have on her resume, and this could end up being the greatest thing in the world. I'm not going to knock anything, but this surprised me. And again, this could be the greatest thing in the world. It could be the worst thing in the world. We just have to wait and see. But on the topic of those main roster call-ups with Vaquer, Saints, and Grace, I really hope that they don't get lost in the shuffle, because we just had Roxanne Perez and Julia get called up to Raw and SmackDown respectively, and this could end up crowding the roster, right? And it goes back to what I was saying before, that they could just end up being another body on the roster, and I really, really hope that's not the case for these guys. Especially someone like Vaquer and Grace. Like, those are two people who deserve to be at the top of the game, and they are two of my favorites in wrestling right now. And same thing with Ricky Sainz. I feel like he's getting called up a little bit too early, but again, it's still a rumor. We don't know for sure, but if he is getting called up, I feel like it is a bit too early. But again, I hope he's just not another body on the roster. I hope he doesn't get lost in that shuffle. There's a few people I'd like to see Ricky Sainz up against though on the main roster. So hopefully this is good. Hopefully this is a good move for the three of them. But that's all I have. It's exactly 7:30, so I have half an hour to edit this and get everything up and all that stuff. So that is everything. Let me know in the comments what you think about this week's headlines. Yeah, if there's anything that I missed that you wanted me to talk about, go ahead and throw it in the comment section below. I will reply. So yeah, go ahead and let me know. Make sure you subscribe, like, and comment. Hit that notification bell so you're up to date with all the videos, podcasts, interviews that come to the channel. Make sure you subscribe to the Kayfabe Central Ko-Fi page. I upload exclusive content there, especially content that I can't upload on YouTube because of copyright. So go ahead and check that out. I uploaded a Money in the Bank 2015 ladder match watch along, audio watch along because the video was laggy, like I mentioned before. So yeah, go ahead and subscribe to that. It's $5 minimum. So yeah, do that. If you plan on buying anything from WWE Shop, it would really help me out if you used my link to buy something from WWE Shop. It unfortunately doesn't give you a discount, but it helps me out a lot. So yeah, if you guys could use that WWE Shop link if you plan on going on there, it would be greatly appreciated. But with that being said, I am going to wrap this up and get ready for SmackDown now. And I will see you guys on the next one. Take it easy.